Hello, Orville Nation. Welcome, everybody. We have an amazing, amazing show, and we have the whole gang here, plus a few extra friends jumping in. And let's get started. We have Kate Drummond joining us today. Wow. Of course, Joseph is here, and let's begin. Let me just say hi real quick to Matt Ryan, Steven, Louise, Planet Bogar. Thank you, Planet Bogar, for your trailers and teasers. Good stuff, my friend. Time Prophet, Kareem's in the chat and on the panel. John Burns, Tim Possible, welcome Galinda. John Burns, Elise, hello Elise, and everybody else who is in here. Several people in here. Rapunzel, there you are. Kai, there you are. Good to see all of you. Let's get started, guys. Hello, Katie. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
You look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, even though you said it's been a long day.
Yes, yeah, I go to work at 2 a.m., so this is nice. This is my evening/late night, and I'm enjoying it.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad we can relax you just enough so you can get to bed.
Exactly. Although this episode did stress me out.
It did. It did, huh? Oh God, we're headed for a cliff, Katie.
Yes, I know. I'm not ready. I don't like it.
We're headed for a cliff. But anyway, we're so excited at these last few episodes of season 3. Just a quick reminder, guys. Gil from Cardinal Sin is putting in. He has a very special guest tonight after our show. It's about 45 minutes after our show. Go ahead, Gil. Please post as much as you can so people don't miss it. He is interviewing Tessa B. Dick on his show today. She's a sci-fi writer, and you're going to not want to miss that. All right, let's get started with ladies first. Hello, Nina. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you.
Good to see you as always. Hey, Katie.
Hey, your hair looks fabulous as always.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, happy to be here. Can't wait to talk about the show. It's gonna be great.
Are you streaming tonight?
Yes, I will be on Toxic Femininity at 9 Central my time, 10 EST. Oh, wait, no, got the other way around. I'm sorry, because we moved the time. At 9 Eastern, 8 Central time, and on Midnight's Edge.
All right.
Nice.
Awesome. You don't want to miss that. And Kate, I see you in the backstage. We'll get to you. Joe's going to introduce you. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And let's introduce Trash Panda Coco. Hello, Coco.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Coco.
Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Anything new in the Coco community?
Not really. I mean, besides a lot of health problems, just one after the other, I'm just trying to get back on my feet.
Well, you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
We are glad you are back streaming with us.
What
That's
shirt are you wearing? What is that?
I created it myself. It's a Dark Matter t-shirt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cute.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Lit.
Yeah,
Love
but
it.
with Dark Matter like stuff out there, and I was just like, oh, screw it, I'm gonna make something myself.
There you
There you
go.
go.
Yes, Katie did that too.
Yeah.
It's a good option.
Yeah, it is. It's like when you can't find something you actually like, A, want to wear, and B, like, to you looks appealing. It's just like, oh, fine, I'll make something myself.
Exactly. If you're crafty, go for it.
Totally.
And let's go ahead and introduce Dr. Dega Outlaw. And let me just read this real quick. Tessa B. Dick, widow of Philip K. Dick. And they're both sci-fi writers. She will be on at 7 Central on the Cardinal Sin channel after our stream. Thank you, Gil. And Dr. Adega Outlaw, how are you?
Hello, how's everybody?
Hello.
Good.
Are you published yet on Top 5?
Couple weeks. It's coming up. I don't know the editing process they do in the back. I write the script and hand it off, and everything else is up to them. So when it comes out, I'll be almost as surprised as you. They're gonna give me a heads up a couple days beforehand, but I'll let you know. But no,
Please
yeah, there's that for that. I'm wrapping up the history novel of the Blood Witch. I didn't want to get too emotionally attached to most of the characters, so I call it more of a history because it's a very sad story. And then I got 2 new projects which I started, so those will be fun too. Trying to stay busy.
Awesome. I think we need to do a catch-up stream, you and me, whenever you get a chance.
Oh.
I know you're busy. You're busy.
No, it's well, yeah, but it's maybe I just think it would be better if I had something that people could purchase, but that's all right, you know, because I pulled the one off of Amazon. It'll get back up soon, but either way.
Alrighty, and you're almost as busy as the next gentleman we're bringing on, and he is the master of disaster of this whole universe that he has created. Welcome to Baron Destructo himself. Welcome, Joseph.
Disaster.
I've been in a loving way.
It's great to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey,
And I'm just going to
Joe.
sort of roll into our guest for this episode. Now, she's an actress who actually I had cast in another episode. And then she wasn't able to fulfill her role in that episode. So I ended up casting her in this episode. And then she's so fantastic that, when I was hired to do Utopia Falls for Hulu, I had her in mind, absolutely. And as I was creating this character, absolutely had her in mind. Unfortunately, I didn't have final decision on casting, so I was one of many voices, so she had to audition. And of course, she nailed it because she's brilliant. The wonderfully talented Kate Drummond.
Welcome.
There you go.
Hello.
Thank
I'm
you
the
for
only one
joining
who
us.
doesn't have a super cool background right now. I'm kind of like,
I've
background?
got to adjust my background here.
Your
I have
background
bare
is pretty
walls in a
cool.
new house.
well, I have a paint by number and a record, but and my hair is covered. This hat is covering my COVID hair, which is like atrocious.
Oh, yeah. What's
Dying.
the record of?
The record is actually my partner's dad.
Huh?
This is kind of an interesting story. I don't think he would mind me saying it, but when his dad passed about 5 years ago, they found a box of songs that his dad had written. And so what they did is a producer in Alberta named Steve Laurie, he applied for an arts grant and basically hired someone to sing all of my partner's dad's songs. But in between each of the song, there's narrations that are actually my partner's dad's voice and stuff. So
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, it's a really cool
Very
thing.
cool.
So I got that
That's so
framed
nice.
for Christmas. Yeah. But I was looking around at everyone's really cool sci-fi background. I'm thinking, I've got to get some of my sci-fi stuff here because I'm always sitting in this spot doing these kinds of things, and I never have anything about anything I do in the back. It's all
Mine's just a red light, so that it's nothing that fancy.
I'm sure you can,
even just a red light would just something.
Well, I gotta tell you just a secret. Katie's not actually in space.
Oh.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. This is a lovely $10 green sheet along with PVC that I finally caved and decided to make because I was jealous of everyone else's background.
Plus, it's not the background; it's the foreground.
True.
Thank you for being here.
It's true. It's true. Thank you, everyone, for having me. It feels like, hi, Joe.
Kate, it's been forever. I mean, we've been DMing. It's great because I have to say I've made more friends on Dark Matter than really any other production. And I think with Kate, Kate is a very busy actress. She's, as I was saying beforehand, she was slammed with auditions, and another one came in. So her time with us is limited. But I appreciate the fact that you've taken the time. But just kind of a funny story how you landed on Dark Matter. And I was just saying you actually auditioned and killed another role. I won't say which one. And then I think it was your agent that called and was like, Kate's really sick. And I was like, okay. And he's like, she's in the hospital. And I was like, what?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So that it's so interesting. Like, I'm such a firm believer in what's meant for us won't pass by us. And, we can hold on really quickly and really tightly to things opportunities that we think we need or that we want. But I want it, so it must be mine and it must happen. And when it doesn't, there's that feeling of sort of like, oh, disappointment or whatever. But I'll tell you, if there was ever an experience in my life that taught me that when one door closes, another opens, it was this one. And so what had happened is I had just been wrapped on Winona Earp. And I had flown back from Calgary. Are you ever going to play someone who isn't evil? Good question. I'll get to that. But I had just flown back from Calgary. I was so excited to finally be on Dark Matter. And the very next day was in my wardrobe fitting for this character that I had auditioned for. And really, really pumped. And then while I'm in wardrobe, my stomach starts doing something kind of funny. And I was like, oh, do you have any ginger tea or like something lemony or something subtly, something? And they're like, yeah, no problem. And that night I was rushed to the hospital, and I ended up being in the hospital for like 5 days, 6 days.
Ooh.
And I had picked up a bug in Cuba over Christmas, and I had carried the bug in my belly all through January of filming, and then landed back in Toronto in February.
Oh no.
So I was devastated. I was like in the hospital calling my agent, I'm so sick. I don't want to pass up on this role. And sure enough, Joseph and others from production actually reached out to me on social media and on the private chats and said, we are so worried about you. Are you okay? Don't worry. You haven't burned any bridges, and we'll find something else for you. And then sure, being a man of his word, ended up having Sajin as the next role, which was even more tasty than the first one. So it's just sort of one of those things. Like
Joe puts off this vibe like he's like this evil corporate leader, but he's just a softie and just like the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Like he's just so sweet.
He's got to negotiate now. Don't say that in public.
Oh yeah, sorry.
He is a hard ass. Hard ass.
But
You just wrecked his image.
I often talk about the fact that, you like to work with the people you like to work with. And so in the case of, you got one episode in Dark Matter, and then when Utopia Falls came around, I was like, oh my God, Kate would nail this character. And so, as I was writing the character, I was like, I was always imagining you. And then, you really tore it up in that series. Oh, there you are.
There I am.
You're
oh my
awesome,
gosh. I'm telling you. I don't know that I can fit into that outfit right now, but
You were fantastic in this role, Kate.
Oh, thank you. It was a dream. And I'll tell you, talk about knowing that the writing is meant for you. It's, you can tell that Joe had a part in, voicing me as a person because he knows me. And so when I got these scripts, I was just like, yeah, I would say that. Yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. And I knew when Joe didn't have eyes on my dialogue, I was like, that's not me. That's not me. I'm going to reword that just a little bit so it's more me. It was amazing. Talk about what a fantastic show and experience that was to be part of. But to answer that one question, play someone who's not evil. I was like, yes.
Eventually.
Do I have one that's not evil? Which is so funny because I'm such a dork and I'm just a dork in my life. I love to laugh and do charity work. But I always get cast as these really strong, passionate women.
I was just going to say, Kate, unfortunately, I haven't seen Utopia Falls, but in Dark Matter, I really disliked your character. I was like, oh, this, I hate her.
I know.
And now I'm like, wow, you're such a good actress because that lady was unpleasant. You are so pleasant. You're awesome.
It's so fun. Oh my gosh, it's just so fun. And I think, and I've had this conversation with other people before where they're like, how can you go from one to the other? And when as soon as cut, it's like, oh my gosh, Where are the gummy bears? Where are the
Yeah, you're so bubbly. I love it. You're
But it's,
totally different from your character.
but it's just I don't know what I love so much about it. I just, I don't know. I love I don't find it hard to sort of sit in that place of power and to like go into my voice and make enemies. I don't, that's kind of a fun territory for me in characters, is to just stir it up. Because the other thing is, as the antagonist and as the jerk, as the villain, as the whichever, I've been called a lot of things. Thank God, not to my face, because I would cry. My goal is to make the heroes look better, and my goal is to make them work harder. And the stronger I am at my goal, then it makes the better that they come off. And I love that. Like, I love that's how I justify the antagonist role all the time.
Let me just read this comment from John Burns. Thank you, John. I have been waiting all rewatch, the whole rewatch of the series to hear about Katie's thoughts on this episode. Oh, I thought it was about Kate's thoughts.
Oh, good. I was going to say, I don't know the conversation. I'm put on the spot. I'm going to... And she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Katie is right above you, and we're going to hear about that. Yes, thank you, John Burns.
Katie, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that Joe still likes to torture the viewers with ideas that he's just going to off a main character any day of the week.
No
Who
one is
knows?
safe.
It won't be.
No one
Could
is
be a season finale. Could be a season introduction and beginning, like premiere, or it just could be a Tuesday. Who knows?
I know what she means, because when I watched the bit with 2 and the android for this particular episode, and I was just sat there, I was like, oh no, something bad's going to happen, isn't it? Because they're all being emotional and cuddling each other. I'm like, oh no.
They're too happy.
That scene was not in the original script. That's a scene that I wrote
Really?
like in an afternoon, because the android got a new outfit, and it was a little, what's the word? Décolleté? I mean, basically, it really...
Revealing?
Yes, revealing. And Zoe was like,
Oops.
it was like,
She's like,
she's like, isn't this kind of weird? And I'm like, you know what? And she's like, can you write a scene where we kind of address this? And so I went upstairs and I wrote the scene, and then we shot it the next day. But it's actually one of my favorite scenes in the episode. Just a cute little moment between the android and 2, and it's like this kind of girl bonding moment that these 2 never really get. It's usually the android and 5. So and then of course
I
Zoe
feel like
Noah's
that
great.
scene would not be allowed in today's sci-fi. Like, I just feel like a lot of, because women are just being a little bit in that area, like it's like unacceptable to show that kind of thing now, and I feel
We're
like
always
they're
supposed to be competitive.
and defeminized is I guess the right word. So that kind of, I liked that you did that for Zoe, because it shows that even though she's an android, she's a female android, and she wants to be more human. So she wants to like express her sexuality. And you actually had that line between you said something about what was the line exactly, Joe? It was cross between AI and like the human sexuality, and I thought that was a really cool way that you expressed that idea that sexuality is still very important, especially for women. And we want to be pretty, we want to look nice, we want to do that kind of thing. So I don't know if you'd be allowed to do that on Amazon today, Joe.
Well, we'll cross that bridge hopefully when we come to it, right?
And we have one more picture of 2 Dark Matter favorites here on Utopia Falls.
I've really got to watch this show.
There was another actor. It's funny because our casting director didn't even bring him in to audition, and I was like, "You have to bring in Jeff Teravainen," and he came in and nailed it. And I also just a super actor and someone that I would love to work with again in the near future, along with Kate.
Well, and Jeff and I were our friends, and so when we found out that we were going to be playing together, it was just like, oh, it's so gold when that happened.
I didn't realize that you guys knew each other beforehand.
Yeah. Well, because we're both sort of, we both feel like we're the underdogs in the business. Like we both sort of started late. I know I moved to Toronto at 35 years old after, I was an elementary school teacher for 12 years, and landed in Toronto as just a way to, show my students that you're never too old to follow your dreams. And I was planning on going back to teaching the following year to say, see, I did it. You can do it too. Well, that was 10 years ago. But yeah, Jeff and I always sort of met on that sort of topic of, when you feel like you've started later, is there catching up to do? And I think both of us have realized that there's no catching up to being yourself. You just start being yourself. And, like I said, what's meant for you won't pass by you, so that's kind of the thing. But what's best about Chips Under the Bridge?
What does that mean?
How does he even know? Who is this person?
That's Jeff.
Our audience is really good at geeking out. Kate.
Chips Under the Bridge. Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up in Sarnia. I'm wondering if Jeff did too. I feel like he did, because that's just code. That's code. My mind is going. So Chips Under the Bridge, it was Albert's Rolling Lunch, which they then since left their truck and have bought a place that's not rolling. It's permanent. It's in a strip mall. However, when I was there, it was this chip truck, and you would go literally under the bridge. Like the bridges are above you, and you'd be right there under the water. The freight, the boats, the freight liners or whatever they're called would be going by, and the seagulls are all over and annoying. And you would get your chips under the bridge. You would get this little like boat, this little, not styrofoam. It was this kind of that other material that gets really, really gross when it's wet. And you would get the fries, and then they took like this hose from the ceiling, and they'd go, whoosh, and they'd go psh, all over your fries with vinegar.
Oh no! Oh,
Yes!
No!
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
It sounds really good.
Malt vinegar, and then it was like, where's the salt shaker? And you'd be like,
The joke's face.
I love that.
You're like,
That
give it
sounds
to me. And you're like,
delicious.
I think I need a little bit more vinegar. And they're like, we just, sprayed it, and you carry your chips back to wherever you're going to sit, and it's like sloshing around. Best.
Oh man,
my
that
gosh,
sounds
what a
good.
joy. I love that Jeff just brought that up. That just made me all nostalgic. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been back.
Wow, Jeff, what kind of stalker are you? No, I'm just joking.
I'm pretty open online about, where I'm from and what my weaknesses are. So, French fries are kind of up there, and I'm super proud of Sarnia. It's a quirky little town that it was. It was, a good place to grow up for sure.
Kate,
Awesome.
we're kind of celebrating the at the end of season 3 here, and so let me just tune in because Nikki, who is doing some dark matter images, is streaming live for us, and I just wanted to show what she's doing right now.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
She is doing some dark matter. Let me blow it up a little bit.
People are so talented. Look at this.
It's always great when fandoms can collect the
Hey,
talent
Nikki.
people.
Hey.
That's
Hi.
adorable. Love it.
Cat versions of our
That's dark,
Meowder. Yeah.
dark meowder.
Meowder. Oh my god.
Cats.
Oh my gosh, the best part of this whole thing is that she's got her actual cat cam. That is amazing.
Oh, and she has cat ears
Yeah.
on her head.
I know, that is awesome. She's got like an actual cat model. This is amazing.
I wonder if she's making that into shirts or pins or all of the above. Some of her pins are really, really
Oh,
cool.
Kitty. Oh, that's so cute.
Kitty cam.
So she is streaming live on Twitch, and we're gonna keep coming back to her and see how she's progressing on her coloring in of this beautiful design that she came up with.
That is so neat.
Thank you, Nikki. We're going to be back in a little bit and check you out, see how you're doing. Thanks, Nikki.
That's
That's
amazing.
Mm.
It must, Joe. It must make you really proud to know that a show that is your child, basically, is inspiring so many people on so many levels. Like you bring out the artists in people, like the passion, like people want to celebrate things. I think the last thing I celebrated before TV shows was like my Puffy sticker album when I was a kid. Like it must make you feel so, that must be your jet fuel that keeps you going to keep producing.
Yeah, it absolutely is, which is why sort of I maintained a fairly accessible online presence for the fans as well, as kind of a thank you for their long-time support. I mean, through Stargate and Dark Matter and Utopia Falls, and hopefully my next 2-3 shows. Yeah, 2, let's say. Yeah.
I was whacked by Joe Malazzi and I loved it.
Thank you, John. John, you know what? You should come up with that shirt. Everybody's coming up with their own Dark Matter shirt.
Yeah.
Also, want to point out one of the reasons that Kate and I hit it off is that Kate is a huge animal lover, especially when it comes to dogs. She and we would exchange dog photos and dog stories, and
and so much so is Joe his dog lover that I got him pug socks.
Yes. Yes.
I got him a pair of pug socks because I saw them and I was like, no, these are mine. Huge animal lover. Always. My latest little sweetheart is Zelda, which is amazing that that's her name and that's what she came with. Considering that's the video game I grew up playing, and then I've acted in a lot of video games, so I'm kind of a gamer in that sense. So when she came with the name Zelda, I was like, she's mine.
It's meant to be.
Crazy little Mexican street dog who spent 4 years of her life sort of roaming the streets and looking for a home, and she found it with us, and she healed my heart after a recent loss of my first dog, Jackson. And so she sort of came into my life as a totally opposite of Jackson. Jackson's like this Great Dane, chill, like, hey, steal the TV. Do you want to just give me a cookie? I don't care. Take my mom. I don't care. And Zelda's like, oh my God, I'm going to tear you limb from limb, but I'm terrified of you anyway. I'm just going to pretend. I'm going to be really sassy and who's got a margarita? Like, she's so sassy.
That is so sweet, Kate. Like, something. I'm actually in Mexico. Like, I live in Cancun. Even though I'm Canadian, but I know a lot of people here because there's so many street dogs. There's this lady that basically helps like collect street dogs and sends them to Canada for people to adopt and everything like that. So that's really cool that you adopted a Mexican street dog. I love that.
I love that you're in Mexico. There's an amazing project called the Snoopy Project in Mexico. Snoopy with an I. And basically what they do is every $50 that you send to this organization, they hire this man locally who builds dog houses and delivers them to families who love their dogs but don't necessarily have the means to give them the protection. And so they
I'm just checking it out right now. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're amazing. Kind of yeah, they're amazing.
Where in Mexico did your dog come from?
She came from Playa del Carmen.
Oh my God, that's like right next to me. Yay.
So she and I actually got a message. I got a direct message over Instagram from this woman who said, I am crying right now. You have Zelda, our dog. And it's not her dog, but she said, I'm a professor at the university and my students and I would bring food for Zelda every day. And she said, and the one day we found her and she was really, really sick and I had to take her home. And she said, I tried to nurse her back to health, but I couldn't afford the vet bill. So I surrendered her to the shelter. She said, I thought she had died and I saw these pictures and I was like, oh my gosh. And the only reason I know it's fact that this woman is not, was not someone that's like, hey, send me $500 and I'll,
yeah.
No, she was legit. Because only one person told me that that's where Zelda was found. She was found around the University of Playa del Carmen, and I'd never spoken of that. I'd never posted that, shared that information. So it was kind of cool for that lady who did.
That's cool.
This huge.
She was legit.
She could see where Zelda is now, living a life.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. That's amazing. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that story. That's cool.
Of course.
Kate, I have to address something about your IMDb, because when we interview somebody of your caliber, usually their IMDb ends right at COVID. And maybe they have one little thing that says in production. And you have like this whole after COVID section, which has like 5 different things on it. And I was wondering if you wanted to talk. Is there anything you want to share about? Because there's a lot there. Do you want to share about anything that you can talk about? Of course.
Sure.
Like I see here, Ghost Rider, The Novice, and you have
the Ghost Rider and The Novice I shot pre-COVID.
Okay.
But The Novice actually just came out at Tribeca and won Best Narrative Feature.
Yay.
It's like it's like Black Swan meets Whiplash meets, like, it's so good. It's so good. I can't wait for the world to see it. It's a fantastic vision, and it was crazy to shoot. We were on the water and driving boats, and I'm not a boat person. I like to be in a boat. I don't like to be doing that steery thing where like right is left and left is right and this is backwards, this is forwards. I was like, like I never knew what I was doing. Someone should have died in my area, but thankfully no one did. What I did shoot during COVID, which was really extraordinary, was The Man from Toronto, and that was with starring Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson and Kaylee Cuoco, and of course I do play another antagonist.
That's funny.
But like I'm really good at my job in this movie. So it's a comedy action, which is hilarious. I worked opposite Kevin Hart, the entire time. He's hysterical. He's talk about a masterclass in just not having any ideas of what you're going to say. You kind of go out, I don't know how many times we weren't even saying the script. We were just sort of riffing, but it's basically where, I'm an FBI agent and I've been working on this plot to take down this, national or international terrorist or this assassin. I'm trying to use a lot of words so that I'm not giving it away. A really bad person. I'm trying to take him down. Anyways, and Kevin Hart finds himself in the middle of my operation by accident. And so I make him stay because he's been misidentified as someone important. And so, I make him stay in my operation, which is hysterical because he plays like the typical guy that he always plays.
Do you know what this is going to be for? Like if it's going to be for a streaming service, or is it being
I think it'll be theatrical release.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a big one. It was a big Hollywood blockbuster.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. It looks awesome.
Yeah,
Woody Harrelson. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, but interestingly, during COVID, it was really hard. My first day on set, I drove home and I was kind of like, I think I might get fired. I think I'm going to get fired from this job. I think this is the first job I'll ever get fired from. And the reason is this. I was so out of sorts because the way I ground myself as an actor on set is by contact, by human connection, by sitting at lunch and talking about how we messed up the line, or getting caught up with people, or petting their dogs that they have in their trailers, or, everything. That's how I ground into myself. Mm-hmm. But when I got there, there's 250 people in masks, and my director, Patrick Hughes, had the ski mask on, and he's 9 feet tall. And I was like, oh my God, you look like a monster. And I couldn't speak to anyone. I couldn't sit with anyone. And it took some real adjusting. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to root into myself. And I wasn't alone. Apparently a lot of actors coming back from, into this new set life, they found it really challenging. We're a very relational job. And then to take away that aspect, all of a sudden you're supposed to be like, okay, and relate and connect on action. But everywhere else, stay away, 6 feet, go away, don't breathe on me. You
Yeah.
can't rehearse together because you're in the same bubble for too long. And it's kind of like, so it's really big learning curve for me and for everyone. Oh my gosh. But that was 3 months during COVID. So lots of COVID testing, lots of nasal swabs. That's no fun. Yeah. So, but
now it's like I feel like actors are getting paid enough to do that. Like meaning like before you feel like, okay, Kevin Hart makes too much money for so many people. But now that you realize, they have to stick stuff up their nose every 20 minutes. You're like, okay, yeah, I feel that. Like that's worth it. Like, okay. Give them all the money. Just
now, mind you, I didn't make what
that's
Kevin
crazy.
Hart made, like one day. So I just one day.
My gosh.
One day. It's not. I just looked. I saw Nate come up here. Nate knows. I almost said Nate knows Kate. Nate. It's like a Dr. Seuss book. Nate knows Kate. Nate doesn't know Nate. Nate knows reviews. Is it Marvel's Ghost Rider? It's actually not. Oh my gosh, that would have been amazing. It's actually Apple TV's Ghost Writer, and it's very different. It's for kids, and I play another antagonist.
Oh my goodness.
You frighten adults and you frighten kids. Okay.
I do. When am I going to be a sweetheart? When?
Yeah, you could, but I mean, you're so good at playing the villain because, like you said, the villain has to be a foil for the hero, and these heroes have been heroes who've been established, over the course of many episodes.
Yeah.
So especially when you come in as a guest star, you have to really step up and create a presence on screen, and you do all the time. And it was just such a delight on Utopia Falls to actually track that progression of your character and sort of get a peek behind kind of the curtain of what made this character. And I always like villains with a sense of humor, and you're always able to deliver the humor, which I
I feel like the challenge now for you, Joe, is to write a part for Kate that's a hero's journey.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Hi,
For your next project.
Okay. We'll see which one of them goes.
Or you could do like a redemption arc where she starts off evil, but then becomes a good guy.
I had that idea for season 2 of Utopia Falls that I've said a few times, that I feel like, a villain, I mean, once you're deemed the villain, why do you have to stay the villain? Why can't your heart be changed?
Actually,
look at the Grinch.
Villains who turn tend to be fan favorites. And you're absolutely right. The way we had set up the end of season 1, we'd kind of set up a formidable new villain in kind of that other city. So yes, actually, if not necessarily a good guy, a good character, Phaedra could have become an ally.
Yes.
And that would have been very interesting.
Yes, I was really pumped about that when Anna showed up at the very end of Utopia Falls. I was like, okay, so either we're gonna joust and one of us is going, and please don't let it be me. Please don't kill me off. Please don't kill me off. Or we're gonna become like either love interests, or it's going to be, this allyship that, changes the way we know Utopia Falls and the way it operates. Like there's got to be something,
What if you took the alien black goo out of her, Joe? Was she good then? Was she?
I don't know if she's necessarily, I mean, well, I don't know.
Well, she was
See, this person says you need to write a nice role for her, but later on you discover she's secretly cakes. No, sweet. maybe even a love story.
And a puppy involved. Like I don't know.
And actually, so there's someone here who just messaged, and I know this person, Aurelie. She's actually writing in from Belgium.
Ooh.
And she has been a huge support of mine and fan of the show Winona Earp. Our Earpers are pretty diehard, like your Dark Matter fans, and she reminded me. She says, I play a good person in Nowhere to Be Found. In that movie, there's a movie called Nowhere to Be Found. So I play. That's right. Thanks for reminding me of my resume.
Yeah, actually, Kate, I was just looking at your IMDb, and I saw that you did voices for Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, because I'm playing that at the moment, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a great game. What's it like working on video games? How do you find that?
It's fantastic. Video games, I always say that it's like when we were kids, all of us were kids, and we'd go to the playground and you'd jump on the monkey bars or whatever and the climbing thing, and you would look down at the ground and you're like, don't touch the ground, it's lava. Don't, the last person up is gonna, get sucked in by the wormhole. And you had to like have this crazy imagination. I swear to God, this is where my acting training came, is at the playground. That's acting in video games, because you have absolutely nothing to work. If you're shooting a bazooka, like they'll hand you a pool noodle. Like, hey, here's my bazooka. And then you have to be like, you have to like do this work, like this physical work. And like, it's the biggest exercise and party of make-believe. It's so fun. And the stakes are always fantastically high because it's video game world. So there's two aspects to the video game work that I've done. I've done the full motion capture or full performance capture, which is
that's cool.
When you have like the head mounted camera on.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're basically how you act as an actor is exactly how your character acts. So usually in the debriefing sessions, like Splinter Cell Blacklist, in between the missions, there would be like a mini movie. And then there's the other part where I don't have to wear the cage on my head. I just get to be, the movement of somebody. Persephone, I think, is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I was her body. So basically I did her body, someone else did her voice. And then sometimes I just have to go into a sound studio and be the sound of, someone dying. And that's really interesting too, because, when you play games, like listen in the background for, the merchant or, the drunk woman that's like,
yes.
I want another beer. Give me another beer.
Yeah. Because I find these days games like they put so much effort into the world. Like someone said, like if you were to be on GTA 5, you could follow around people for like hours, and they would have this entire dialogue that they put into the game on this one person that you could follow. It's crazy the amount of effort they put into them these days.
Thousands of people are involved in video games, and the actors are the smallest part. Not to minimize what I do, but like the animators, the researchers, going and living in Greece, and studying culture and people and how they interact, going, and just really diving into that world to create it to be real. Because if the world of video that you're investing in a video game isn't real or doesn't feel human, then, when your character dies, you're kind of like, what's for dinner? And it's the more real it is and the more relatable it is, and the characters, the more believable they are, then the more you care and the more that you want to come back and play the game.
How cool would it be if we got a Dark Matter video game? I think it would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I'm very salty because there was, I think, 2 Stargate games that didn't get fully released, and I found one of them where someone's uploaded like the dialogue and everything, and there were some like seriously good like Jack and Daniel banter. I'm like, how was this cancelled? Because it was with the original actors' voices as well.
Right.
And I was just like, why was this cancelled? Like, there's literally really good storyline and everything.
There must have been like half a dozen Stargate games that started and were developed and were almost released that never saw the light of day.
That's sad.
But
Yeah.
one day,
Maybe.
Yeah.
one day, they're in a time capsule somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
They're
Never
still
delete a
coming
game.
out. There is one coming out soon, but I think it's more strategy based. But I know that's coming out soon, so that might actually get released. Yay!
Yay!
So, Joe, do you want to give your 2 cents on any dark matter games possibilities?
Sure, I'm all for them, but you would have to go through Prodigy Pictures. I would have. They would be the ones to call the shots on that one. So yeah, I mean, they have my blessing.
I'll get right on that, Joe.
Great.
Just if you're gonna make a dark matter game, can it just be a little simpler than the ones that are out now that are like, do this with your thumb and this with your finger and this with your thing and then this with your back finger and then this with your back and this with your foot, and like anytime I play, like my character's all over the place, so make it friendly.
All right, I'll take that note.
Yeah.
If I ever go into video game writing.
Yeah, like we don't have to press 9 buttons at the same time to walk forward. Just one. Just like a
Noted.
joystick. The joystick.
Okay.
Joe just reminded me of the one of the lead character, the character F. Murray Abraham plays in Mythic Quest. He's a sci-fi writer who ends up as a video game writer. But anyway, sorry, it's very popular. It's popular in the community right now. Thank you, Sound Engraver, popping in to say hello. Thank you, Sound Engraver. Make sure you guys check out Sound Engraver. Put in your channel, Sound Engraver. She's making some amazing music on her channel.
Oh, all these talented, amazing people. I have to run.
Great seeing you, Kate.
I'm just so thrilled that you asked me, and this has just been such a light in my days to just be on this call with everyone and
Such an honor to have you. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you everyone. And Joe, I can't wait until the world opens up and we can have lunch and
finally, yes.
Yeah, and share stories. Everyone stay safe. I hope our paths cross again. You're just so lovely. What a lovely treat this was.
Thank you, Kate. Take care.
Bye.
You're always welcome.
Thank you so much.
There was no way I can interrupt that. She's
lovely.
Too lively to bring up a question. That was incredible.
She's so sweet.
It's interesting that all the roles she plays she's very reserved, huh? She's very reserved in the roles.
Control is what she is, and it's kind of the mark of a good actor or actress, if you will. It's something that director Peter DeLuise used to say all the time during auditions: is use the stillness, because whenever we go in for auditions, a lot of actors gesticulate wildly, and that diffuses their power. Whereas an actor who internalizes, who basically projects without a lot of the movement, just feels more convincing, but also more powerful. And Kate is great at that. Just she has her performances are confident.
Speaking of kitties,
oh,
so cute.
My
I
cat
love the
just, like,
Bubba
walked
gun.
up.
yeah.
My cat just walked up and I was like, "You're too cute." Hi, baby.
Great progress, Nikki, on that. Wow.
Amazing. Love it.
That looked awesome.
It's amazing. It's a cat stream.
So do you feel, Joe, that all of us are kind of in this celebratory mood, that now that we're coming to the end of Dark Matter season 3, how does it feel like to you that we're all, just so touched by this?
Yeah, I mean, it's always touching. I mean, I've always been very protective of the fans, my cast and crew, which has not necessarily gotten me into trouble. Maybe it's gotten me into trouble, or maybe it's fallen me into disfavor among certain executives. But I don't really care.
there you go.
Joe's
More
so
honor
based.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's like totally based. He's like, I don't give up.
But I don't.
Well, Joe understands the fans are where it's at. I mean,
Yes.
Well, that's where the real people are too. At least the ones who are going to put their heart into something. I don't see execs doing more than, and maybe it's just my lack of vision because I haven't been around them. But I see them as people who are counting the bills and writing receipts, as opposed to being part of the community.
If you can find an executive who is enthusiastic about your project and loves your project, they can be your biggest allies. On the other hand, a lot of executives just they don't know. I mean, basically, like in the case of Dark Matter, I don't think anyone watched the show on that network. But you know.
Should we get Katie's opinion on the? John has asked a few times, "What do you think about this episode?" and "What do you think about the Android and 2 scene?"
I like it. They learned a lot about themselves in the past episode, and I think that's going to like not necessarily impact them greatly going into the future, but like they acknowledge they have a history in this past life, and when you have a connection between a person, you want it to grow, and it seems like this is a natural way for them to grow, which I was so excited to see, and also boobs. So that made me laugh so hard. She just boobs, boobs, boobs. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like a child when they learn a new word.
Yeah.
And so I loved the episode as far as the character growth. I hated those weird globular octopus looking floaty things. That is scary, Joe. That is scary.
We needed something alien looking. You know, we didn't want
well, you nailed
somebody
it.
in a rubber suit.
I loved
Good
it.
job.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it.
Absolutely horrifying.
I think I liked it because it kind of gave me like Stranger Things vibes with the whole like upside down world. I always love the idea of in anything a portal that goes somewhere that's strange. That's just really
That was
cool to me.
before Stranger Things, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think I watched it after, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this, the actual aliens reminded me of the Smoky Monster from Lost, but like actually had a purpose.
Mm.
Do you remember the Star Trek Voyager episode with the macrovirus things that were flying around? You got Tank Top Janeway. That's I'm like, okay, that's that. Just horrifyingly worse. Like just utterly terrible. Like those were benign little alien viruses. This thing I would actually be terrified of. I would burn the ship. It's like if you see a spider in your house. It's like burn the house.
Did anyone ever watch a movie called Fern Gully?
No.
A long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a creature in that. That's what it reminded me of, that freaked me out as a child, man. It's the goo that looks like that is the voice is played by Tim Curry.
Yeah.
And
Really?
he does like the most gorgeous villains, if you know what I mean. He's just so good at being a bad guy.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh, yes.
like there's a few songs in that, but the bad guy song is like the best one. It's like it should be, but it's so naughty and ooh. And it's Tim Curry singing, so it's just like, what's there not to love?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, Joe, how much of this alien was your mind? Because I know you wanted something alien. Was it a collaborative effort, or was this all?
Yeah, no, it was really more collaborative effort with me and our visual effects supervisor, Lauren Bancroft Wilson. And like I said, I just wanted an alien that looked alien. And so basically, we actually glimpse kind of the initial version of this alien that we were never really fully happy with, was we glimpsed in season 2 when it exits 3 and gets it blasted out the airlock. And then this one is a more kind of refined version of that original concept. As so often happens in television, especially in visual effects, you kind of like massage it over time, and the visual style kind of evolves.
Do you find, because you've been in this a lot, that the more you pull out the familiar, even if it's a benign alien, the more you pull out the familiar where people can't recognize a face, limbs, things that you see on animals or people, the more you pull that away, the more frightening it becomes?
Maybe. I guess it would really depend on the person, because oftentimes I find actually something that is a distorted version of something familiar is, for me, often even more frightening than something unfathomable. But
Yeah.
again, it really depends on what you're seeing.
Joe, quick question. Was Kate involved at all in the sports? At all?
I don't know. You would
Okay.
have to ask her. Find her
I
on
really
Twitter.
like this dialogue with 3 and Android, where she
Mm.
was pointing out that that him being afraid is something that was concerning her, and that he'd never shown fear before,
Mhm.
and all the time that she had known him. I thought this was really interesting, and obviously just a great point for the actor, because he really acted well, like showing that fear and that
Mhm.
concern, whereas in like we're just so used to seeing him like calm, cool, chill, like really like, he's been in some tough situations, and even then like he's
Mhm.
been concerned but never like quite fearful, and this was shown very well in this
He's
episode.
very good at being
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. In
Yeah,
this
he
case, I mean,
exudes anxiety.
he is sensing fear, but in kind of a weird way. If he knows what he's facing, he can sort of battle down that fear. But he's experiencing kind of an unknown,
The unknown.
for an unknown reason, and that in itself is kind of scary to him.
How much
Yeah.
of this particular scene was foreshadowing for what next season would have been? All right, I shouldn't have asked.
How dare you, Adega?
Ooh.
It kind of touches on it. Yeah. Yeah. Everything, every scene was in service to sort of the greater whole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
building up for the next. Because I mean, if you like when we were watching season 2 and even season 1, like you could see the perpetual buildup of what was planned, especially like let's say with the android and the history and how how that played out. So you can see there was certain things in motion for the next season. That's why it hurt so bad.
Mm.
Like, no.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Because especially this episode and the one with the androids, we lost so much.
Yeah.
Sci-fi.
Mm.
Katie, what did you think about the fact that they found all these humans that had the nanites in them, like 2? That surprise you?
The fact that they were infiltrating everywhere and they already had that had surprised me and then scared me. Like, this episode scared me because it's just close enough to reality that, like, somewhere in the future this might be possible. But no, when you open up that hive of just all the people with the nanites and stuff, I'm just like, man, I'm not even at the end of this season, and I know season 4 would have been so incredible because they're setting up so much. And I think that's the thing that I really liked, is like there's still that possibility out there that you could totally just make an entire finish off the arc with this and just show the world how amazing it would be.
This episode, this whole situation too, like was a little bit familiar for me too, like in terms of like in Star Trek Voyager with the whole species 8472 taking over the Federation, and passing themselves off as human and everything like that to infiltrate. Was that like, Joe, were you inspired by stuff like that, or was this just all?
Not really. I mean, I think more than anything, I was kind of inspired by comic books. And
Okay.
I'm not sure which particular comic books, but kind of just general alien invasion storylines.
Sure.
And then kind of what we had planned for season 4 would have been ultimately very different. But
Totally. Okay.
And Joe, there was definitely a bigger buildup toward the end of season 3 than any other season, right?
Yes, because we're kind of ramping up.
Yeah, it was the biggest cliffhanger. Yeah.
And the fact that there were android children, was there ever a thought that some of these androids growing up, a 5-year-old who never ages or something like that?
They're not androids per se. They're
humans.
Synthetically, yes, humans. So yes, they would have aged. And
2 ages, so
yes,
they would have aged.
Yeah, because if they're supposed to fit in, they're supposed to appear human-like. So yeah, of course, yes, they would age. Although the 5-year-old who never ages would be kind of cool, creepy.
Very
yeah.
vampire-like.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, but they had the 2nd-gen nanites, right?
Yes.
Good
Okay.
point, Adega.
I would have imagined maybe even like a 3rd gen, like the new update.
3rd gen.
Why not?
Always upgraded.
Always upgraded.
Joe, do you remember anything particularly difficult about this episode being put together, or filmed, or post-ed, or?
I mean, to be honest, for me, it was kind of a tough episode. I do remember this was directed by the late Steve DeMarco, who did a great job. I just, I think I just remember it being a bit of a challenge. This episode.
Ooh, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Why
Yes.
why did that dude kill himself when he called in the nuke? Was it because he was scared of the aliens?
Yes, basically, it was ultimately a choice between getting taken by aliens or incinerated by a nuke. He decided to just shoot himself in the head. Figured that was
Okay,
like
so he didn't want to like
You
run
created
away.
a third
Yeah.
option.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Also, when what was it? He was like, I'm sorry, or something like that, and then he shot himself. I was like, I picked out that Canadian accent there. Oh, I'm sorry. He's like, oh, hey,
That's funny.
that was adorable.
Sure, I would do a Stargate Dark Matter crossover. In fact, actually, we were in talks with MGM about potentially saving Dark Matter, which would have opened the door to a crossover, but alas, we ran out of time, so it's not to be.
Joe, let me just ask you for the record. Are you in the process of shopping around or looking to get Dark Matter up and running?
I am in the process of coming up with a game plan, if you will, for a mini series that would pick up maybe a little time after the last episode of season 4, and eventually we'll shop it around maybe this summer. This summer,
Yeah,
it's here already. In about yeah,
So
soon.
get all the
6
chess
years.
pieces in a row before
Yeah.
you try and
Yes.
do the
Yeah.
checkmate.
Yeah. So
Very
yes,
exciting.
it's in its early stages.
Yeah.
You could get a season 2, yeah.
I don't know what to
Sure.
do.
It
Please.
will be.
Mm.
I was going to say, like, these days games are basically almost movies within themselves, so you definitely could get probably a whole series, maybe more in there.
My husband is into making games and like game designs and stuff like that. So he was like telling me, he was like, you should ask Joe, like if he wants to do a video game, we can probably make that happen, maybe, possibly. And I'm like, I don't think he really has a say about. I think it's more about the.
Well, no, I mean, I certainly would have weight in the decision making. And sure, I mean, it's a possibility. I would, ultimately, like I said, I'd rather be able to finish my story first and foremost.
Of course.
See, I'm in a My Hero Academia Discord chat, and they're doing a Minecraft Hero Academia where they're making their own fan fiction film, but they're using Minecraft as the medium. So it's an already developed game, but they're having the characters placed inside of it, and they're going to actually act out an entire episode with voice actors. And it's that's like a workaround cheat to having to not have to code anything and just be like, all right, these characters, free moving world, let's do this.
I just would love a Dark Matter video game. And you could have all the voice actors, like, all the actors voice their own parts, and then it would be your writing. Like, so, you would literally write the episode and we would just turn it into a video game, and we would be playable characters instead of like just watching them do it. It would be really cool.
Jeff read my mind, Joe. Who was the girl at the beginning who had the alien come out of her mouth in the dream?
Just really a victim, much like 3.
Rando girl.
Yeah.
basically a red shirt.
Yeah.
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 Do you have this final? I was going to put this up right before Kate left. This great picture of her telling all the bad guys to come through. Oops.
She was so badass.
She is badass. Yeah.
Scary. Scary
Yeah.
badass.
I was like, man, she's scary.
I think it's the hairdo. That is a power
So
bun.
too. She's
There
got
is
that
such a thing as a
weird-
power bun.
It's true. She's got that weird librarian, like, scary bun lady that like tells you like shh in the library, and you're like, okay, sorry.
Every librarian in every movie ever.
Yeah. And kudos to our key hair, Renee Chan and her team for everyone's amazing hair.
She has eyes that can act like a lot of people on the show. You don't even have to, like you were saying earlier, where they don't have to move around. They don't have to animate. It's their presence, their face, the way they express themselves that makes the character.
Joe, Time Prophet asks, was it filmed at Steel Blanking Factory?
Nope, it was actually shot on our set. Actually, the same set where we shot episode 303.
And Rapunzel asked Joe, how are these simulants related to the Accelerated?
The Accelerated are completely different, and we would have introduced them in season 4.
Okay. What did you guys? What was your? Let me ask all of you. What was your favorite part of this episode? Starting with Nina. What was your favorite part of the episode?
Well, I really liked the boobs part. That was great. But I think my favorite part of the episode was I really liked the stuff with 3. Like I really liked like exploring that fear and like his dream and his connection to the portal and the aliens. I really liked that stuff. So that was my favorite part.
Yeah, it was. Three's being unsettling was very.
Yeah, like 3's like mystery and journey about what he was going through was really cool.
What about you, Coco? Oh, sorry. Joe.
Sorry. I was going to say it was probably the scene with 2 and the android and 3 and the android, because for me with a TV show, I like to see the characters showing like affection for each other because they've got to know each other, because that to me is what makes a show really likable, is when you can see the characters interacting and you can tell they know each other, like how the android went to see 3 because she was like, well, from what I know of you, I could tell you're a bit off. So I like seeing that development in shows for sure.
And you, Katie?
I
part of the episode?
loved the part where she's just walking. She's just boobs, boobs, boobs. Like, I don't know why. I don't usually go for that kind of humor, but that got me today. And I needed that. It was so funny. But that entire scene with 2 and the android just being like, exploring things that you don't usually see in sci-fi, let alone modern sci-fi. Because
before Adega goes, I have
that.
a question about that scene that Katie just talked about. The whole like that boobs. Like, did you actually write that, or was that her doing it?
No, I actually wrote that because that actually came about as a misunderstanding, because Zoe, I mean, we're talking about her outfit, and she just says, maybe I could say something about boobs and make a comment about boobs, and I for some reason I thought that she had said boobs twice, so I was like, okay, I'll make I'll put that in the script, and afterwards she's like, actually I never said that, but I like this anyways, and so it worked anyways.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
And what about Adega? What are your favorite summary? What was your summary?
Well,
favorite
I
parts?
want to read. I quoted it and I tweeted it out, and it's that same scene, but I took it different than everybody else. This is a quote from Android, but the point is, I now possess the autonomy to decide my own fate. Mm-hmm. And I inferred, whether or not you were implying this or not, was that she was constantly held back by not knowing who she was or what she could do. And that the point where she realized she was completely her own individual and she was alive with a whole set of emotions was a freeing aspect to her. And that was pretty powerful to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's it. She's essentially exercising her freedom. That's what was the big deal about that moment for her.
Good, I got it right.
Yeah, I Jeff Beeler brings up that was one of my favorite lines when 3 was like, that was Boone, not me. I really like that because he like it's the journey is kind of coming around now.
That was interesting comment. Yeah.
Especially what happened with 4 and like how when he got his memories back, he changed into who he was before and everything like that. So it's like there is a point where 3's realize like I'm not crossing that line. Like I don't want to be that person anymore. And if I do get my memories back, perhaps I'll go back to being that person. And I think that journey is coming full circle now. And of course, especially with the end, with Boone having captured now, like 2 and actually being involved, it's going to be really interesting the next episode.
But I like how he added in there that was 3, not me. Just mirrored of what was said earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Well played.
It was really nice. Very good stuff.
There are a ton of little things, little details. That's why I'm gonna do a rewatch once this is all over and I can binge to my heart's content. And I'm just gonna watch it straight through and be like, oh, okay, yeah, now this makes sense. And get to relive what everyone else is reliving.
Joe, I remember you were saying at the beginning in season 1 that in our review that you weren't like crazy about the music at first. Are some aspects of some of the music? Did I misinterpret that or?
I think so. I don't.
But I wanted to say, like, it's really all the music in the episode has really grown on me, for example, and a lot on all of us.
I think Ben Pinkerton, as our music composer, did a great job. Yeah,
I may have misinterpreted that. Sorry.
By the way, I just want to mention another sort of great performance was Commander Tarkanian, played by James Gilbert, who ends up getting shot in the head. He's a really strong actor, and a guy sort of I would like to circle back with and cast hopefully someday. Yeah, there he is. Terrific.
He was very likable, which meant he was going to get whacked, I guess.
Yeah.
The second I get attached to anyone, so I've given up.
You know what's weird is I was actually a little surprised that you went the route of like when they showed up, like because it was Mike, I think, like it was Mike that showed up, and they were like, "Oh, was it Mike or was it Galactic Authority?"
No,
they were Mike, right?
Yeah, it was Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, so they were like, "Oh, okay, like now we have a case to present to the Galactic Authority, and like whatever, like all this stuff." And they actually seem to be like playing kind of like good guys, and I was expecting you to go to the other route, like having we have these clone things now and we're gonna go evil and use them.
I don't know how they could really use them because they were sort of kind of designed by Rook, but I mean they're in kind of a war with Ferris Core and looking for sort of any advantage, and they are actually on the Raz's good side. Though I actually prefer some of the more interesting characters, like we were talking about earlier, are not the bad guys or the good guys, but the ones who are kind of gray and you don't know whether you can trust them, whether you can't. And so Mike starts off as an enemy or kind of an unlikely ally, and then you never know whether you can trust them, but they become kind of like, just that kind of the gray hat, the uncertain ally. And so that's just something we sort of, kept doing here. It would be, if we would have kind of swapped them and made them evil, then we would have just been the same as Farrah's score.
Well, exactly. But I also you also kept it, pretty gray, because that dude was torturing that other guy.
Yes, that's kind of the interesting thing.
Yeah,
they're your allies, but on the other hand, you don't necessarily have to like everything they do.
Exactly, because that scene was that was hard to watch, but also it really made you think, is 2 gonna just let this go on? I was half expecting her to shoot that guy in the face, because that's her kind, really. If you think about it, that's who she is. So is she gonna let that slide? How that guy was talking? It's not a real human. Really? Want to keep talking more?
Yeah.
But it also seemed like maybe that guy knew something and he was trying to trigger her so she could out herself, and then he could be like, well, you're under arrest for being not a human. Yeah. I don't know.
6 came close to
is that against the law, not being a human?
I don't know. Is it? Because this dude was being these things have no rights. I'm just going to torture this thing now. So...
See, that's how you get a robot uprising. Just saying.
Well, that was coming for season 5, apparently. I don't know if they were going to join forces with the what are these things called?
Accelerated
No,
humans?
they're not the accelerated.
What are they called?
Which ones? The alien?
Two's vessel bodies. They're not clones.
No.
Synths?
The nanobots?
Synths, yes.
Synths. Okay,
Yes.
so synths.
Yeah.
Or the synthetics or whatever.
See,
So would that be would the robots have joined forces with the synthetics at some point? And because they're kind of similar, because they're both not human technically.
Or could they have joined forces with the humans to take out the aliens?
Yeah.
Mhm.
See, I'll tell you what, everyone on my morning show in the mornings, they know that I don't like robots, so they always push the special, robot news breaking, technology things. I'm the kind of person where if a piece of technology dies, if one of my old phones dies, I just give it a proper funeral. And I don't throw it in the trash. I gently wrap it in paper towel and set it in the trash, because you never know.
Yeah.
And the show
remember.
affirms my paranoia. I want to be on their good side.
Yeah, I don't like them either.
It's scary how have you guys seen the advanced AI that they've created that can do facial emotions and is very
Adorable.
Oh my god. No. It's a monster.
Have you seen that they're working on at Disneyland? It's a little Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy that actually walks around. It's completely animatronic.
It's horrifying.
That's
Walks
scary.
around.
It's I'm gonna tell you, you get one
That's scary.
redneck with a shotgun, that thing is gone. It is
That reminds me of that Simpsons episode with the Itchy and Scratchy Land, when all the animatronic things started taking over.
Westworld, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
There's this beautiful scene here with the shuttle, Joe, and the music in the shuttle. It's just great stuff.
Yeah, again, Lauren Bancroft Wilson and his team love that sequence.
And can I point out, you got the cloud shading correct. That is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to film and television, is shading with clouds and how the sun interacts. You perfectly got that gradient, and you added the pockets. A lot of times people will just do flat gray, lighter gray, white. You added in pockets, and that is so precious.
I would love to take credit for even a small part of this. All I did basically, it was actually Lauren and his team. He brought it to me, and I was
Lauren did an
"This is
amazing job.
Yes, absolutely.
That's so funny. It's you would barely I don't know. I don't know if anyone's ever been complimented on cloud gradients. But it's it was so important to Katie. She's like, you got this down right.
You got the
cloud
textures. The tendrils that are coming off, you got a little scud going up. Like, I don't know what they researched, but they did it right.
I love it, Katie. I love you. That's hilarious.
Anybody
My
Expert weighs in.
anybody in Hollywood out there? This is meteorologist Katie, our VFX consultant.
Yeah.
I just want you to get it right. I'll work for free as long as you get it right.
Oh my God. Don't say that, Katie. She will not work for free.
now.
I'm her representation. That is not
You now have an agent, Katie.
I'll take
Awful lot about. She knows a lot about robot uprisings. Yeah, I guess so.
Yes.
We of course have some behind the scenes pictures that Joe has shared with us, and let's take a look at those. And
we only have like 2 episodes left, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was painful to hear.
Mm.
I was looking ahead on Netflix. I'm like, okay, we got. Oh.
Yeah.
Like, I'm used to Star Trek where you got like 20 some odd episodes a season. And then I just remember, I was like, oh no, they went for quality instead of quantity.
Yeah.
I do find sometimes when you're watching a show, when you first start out, and you're like, if it's got a lot of series, you're a bit like, oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then you really get into it, and then you're like, oh, this is really good. And then you suddenly realize that you're near the end. You're like, how did that happen?
Yep. See, I was lucky enough when we were kids that the Brady Bunch was huge with my family. And they finally, before streaming services, decided to release it on DVD. And so my mom would, every 6 months, bring home the new DVD, and it would be sitting on our piano when we got home from school. And that was like the greatest feeling until we got to the last one. And she said, all right, guys, there's no more episodes. And we're like, what? Like, that was my first experience with true disappointment when it comes to a season finale.
You know, one of my greatest appreciations for shorter series is, and sorry, Joe, I know you did this once, but I really, really hate flashback episodes. There wasn't one in this
Poorly
show.
constructed flashback episodes.
It doesn't
I hate
matter any
flashback
of them. If I
episodes,
want
yeah.
to see it, I'll go back and watch it. I don't need an episode on flashbacks. That's just
So,
me. Always
Star
drive
Trek
me nuts.
Shades of Grey, not
This-
your episode.
No.
I agree. I hate flashback episodes.
Wait, which Shades of Grey is what series?
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh, okay, no. Farscape did, I think, a flashback episode. I think it was called Shades of Grey or something. That was actually the best episode of the series. I would argue.
Ouch.
You'll have to find it though.
Then we have disagreement. I do not like any of it.
No, for the most part, I don't. But this episode was actually really good because it shed light, like tremendous light, on one of the characters in a way that was so shocking that it just kind of resonated.
What I would love to see is a TV show that, while filming, say, in season 1, they've already planned out to season 3, like, we're going to do a flashback episode, so let's just film some extra scenes, new scenes.
Yes.
That's all I want.
Mm-hmm.
I think
We
they do
got that
that
with Dark Matter.
in. I think they do that in How I Met Your Mother a little bit.
Really?
Because
Okay.
they had that plan. They had the entire storyline for that entire series planned out from the beginning.
Disagree.
Oh, fight.
I mean, don't get me wrong. With How I Met Your Mother, I absolutely hate the ending. I just think it was a waste of what they did.
I don't think they had it planned. That's what I'm saying. I think they didn't have it planned. They didn't know what the
Well,
hell they were doing.
They
must
did, and they
have had
choked.
They must have had it mostly planned because you know the kids that you keep seeing, that he's talking to his kids. Those scenes were all filmed by season 1.
Wow.
Let me just say thank you to Nikki for letting us watch while she has been doing Dark Matter designs all night long on her stream on Twitch, and you can check her out on her Twitter, and that leads to her Twitch as well. Thank you, Nikki, and it's been amazing watching you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's making me miss drawing.
It's making me wish I knew how to draw.
All right, behind the scenes. Okay. Well, this looks interesting.
Yeah, it's one of the original pods designs by Carl Crosby, our concept designer.
Very
Those give you
pod-like.
choices, and there's the-
That reminds me of our IFB that we use in news. How it pops open, you put the batteries in, you pop it closed, and it's a relatively similar shape.
These go through the same process like what you're doing with those pedal jumpers?
Yep. First they draw the concepts, and then we decide which one we like, and then they complete the design with our production designer, and then the production designer sends off the kind of the sketches of the schematics, works with the construction department to build it, and yeah. I don't know what happened to all those pods.
Oh, they're not in your basement?
Sadly, no. I
I
would
hope
have
they're
kept
empty.
if one would have been available, I certainly would have moved it into my storage unit, much to my
Yeah.
wife's displeasure.
I bet that would make a great bed.
Very claustrophobic bed.
Well, I wouldn't have it closed. Just
Yeah.
open.
It could be like one of those earthquake beds where it like automatically protects you and just
Joe, would you ever write a behind the scenes like for example, there's this science fiction production that's going on and would you ever write something about something you've already done, for example, write a fiction about?
Yeah, we thought sort of, a Stargate behind the scenes would be fun.
As a series?
Oh, as a series? No, I just thought it would be as either a book or something.
You can't do a series like that. It would be like that. That's too long. Like, maybe like a documentary or something. That would be cool. But a series?
I think you could.
Really?
Well, it depends how you do it. But anyway, this is the android's new look, right?
Yes, this is a Noreen's sketch.
I really like the
Landing.
logic behind it.
I loved that you finally it's just I like the fact that you showed skin. I know I hate being that person, but it's like, no, they don't all have to be covered and it's just I don't know. I like that. I think it's cool.
you show skin with a purpose. It's not just like sexy for being sexy. Like it's the android exploring. So it's nice that it has a purpose.
Exactly.
And don't forget, guys, that the widow of Philip K. Dick, sci-fi writer, will be Tessa B. Dick will be on with Cardinal Sin for about 45 minutes.
Wow, that's awesome. I love Philip K. Dick.
And
there's Steve DeMarco.
Trench coat.
He was a character. Yes.
That looks like a badass.
Yeah.
do you want to? Is there anything you want to share about the director? Any memorable story, Joe? Or
No, I mean, I discussed it on my blog. I mean, he passed away earlier this year.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So you can check out my blog. I did a little write-up on Steve. He was a unique but a great director.
His
A unique
coat is
character, a great
amazing.
director. Yeah.
did you guys work together before on anything before this?
No, it was just dark matter.
Oh no, my cat's being bad. I'll be right back.
John Burns, the Orville Nation. We'll eventually do stuff on Discord. Just not ready right now for that.
And there he is directing the rehearsal for Android and 5.
So that red dot up there, is that the line of sight dot that they looked at?
I don't recall.
Here?
Yeah.
I don't recall. Possibly.
It's a ghost.
Is that Suji I can hear?
Yes, she's getting restless. It's that time.
Joe, I was just thinking that that Steve looks like he could be cast for the episode in with his attire.
Yeah. He's like the little Lord of the Rings, my precious.
Smeagol.
Gollum?
Smeagol, yeah,
Smeagol,
Gollum.
Gollum.
It could be like the little ship gremlin. It's just like, you've never seen me, but I'm always here.
Wait, what? What are we talking about? Oh my god.
Like,
No, I was just commenting on the director's. He looked like he might fit into the future world with his attire.
Oh yeah, he was very Mad Max looking.
Very cool. Yeah, they're practicing lines here. I take it.
Yes, this is rehearsal. They have their sides, which is the day's scenes and dialogue in their hands, the yellow sheets there.
So you had just written the outfit change for her? Like that was just like.
Well, I mean, they wanted an outfit change. And so Noreen came up with the outfit change, and we weren't sure which episode we would do it in.
Who's they? Like the executives?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you have to address it. So, it would initially sort of, I thought, it should be a fun little scene where they come on board the ship and she's wearing the new outfit, and that'll be that. And then after the fitting, Zoe came back and she's like, okay, we have to address this somehow. And so that's why I wrote that scene with her in two. And yes, it is that she is hanging up there to diffuse the light.
Oh.
Correct. There's that awkward hug. She's the most awkward hugger.
Like even in real life?
No.
Okay. I was like, what?
She's an android.
No, I know that's funny.
it
But
kinda
some
looks
people, some people are awkward huggers in real life.
Well, it's like the last day of school when the teachers and the students are just like, okay, you're gone from the rest of my life now. Good luck. It has those vibes.
And John Burns, you can just follow us on Orville Nation Twitter. It's really easy. Great picture.
This is how it looks like on set when we're shooting. The actors are rehearsing, and the crew kind of follows along in the dialogue as the director kind of directs.
Who's the gentleman flying the spaceship, Joe?
I'm not sure.
Well, flying.
I can't tell.
Okay. There's a lot of people there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like after the table read and stuff like that?
After the table read, and then you're on set and you run through the scene. So essentially, it's at first go around is usually the actor with the actors with the director, the cast with the directors, and they'll decide who's going to walk where, how the scene's going to play out, and then that's called blocking. Once blocking is done, they'll call in the crew so the crew can know where the actors are going to walk and how they're going to cover the scene, and then everybody breaks. And the director of photography sets up his lights. And then once he's done, everybody returns and you shoot the scene. And then you get you do the master, you do whatever, angles the director wants. And then you move on to the next scene and you repeat the process.
Nice.
You do about 7 pages a day, 7 to 8 pages a day.
Now, do you ever change the color of the paper?
No, it's usually yellow. Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. And that's here's the translucent option of our concept design.
Ooh, I like the translucent one.
That's freaky.
Carl
cool.
Crosby is terrific, and he's kind of graduated. I got an email from him. He has worked on The Expanse as well. Did a lot of design work for The Expanse, ships and such. And he's actually moving on to being a production designer. So that's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I won't lie, it kind of looks like an avatar.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's funny. I wonder if that movie's ever going to come out.
No, yeah.
Oh, this is a cool shot. No, there's
It
Steve
is.
walking, checking out all the pods.
Dude looks like he walked straight out of an early Panic at the Disco like music video.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good picture.
Mm.
I just love all the sets you guys had. That's so cool. So this is what's missing in today's sci-fi is like amazing sets because everything's just CG now. Yeah, a lot of stuff is just CG done.
Mm.
And that's got to hurt the actor's performance at least a little bit. Because part of your brain goes to pretending that something's there when you could be using that for your acting.
And it's just for the watchers as well. You just kind of, obviously, if things age as well, you just notice it more. Because my sister the other day showed me, they took the E.T. movie, I think it was in 2002, and for some reason replaced E.T. with CGI. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like,
that's crazy.
Like, in my mind, you know, practical normally always trumps any kind of, you know, CG in it. Like, this person compared the two, and you're just like, well, I'd still watch, obviously, the original, because it's just so much more easier to kind of grasp and think it's realistic.
It's believable.
And here we see here Nikki doing 3, I think that it is.
Oh, no, is that 3 or
with Bubba?
Oh yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
It's a cute 3.
Aww.
He looks so harmless.
3. It's 3.
Yeah.
Coco, you have a really nice voice as Kronos.
Really? Oh, I can think so. I don't think I do.
Why not? You have a beautiful voice.
Wow, it looks great.
Probably my accent. I'm just a bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's part of it.
I'll tell you what. I'm going through and looking at my Doctor Who fandom forecast, which will drop tomorrow, by the way. Finally figured out the tech issue, but I did one take where I was like, I guess I could try and do a British accent. I got 5 seconds in and said this could start a war because it is so bad. They would think I'm insulting the entire culture, and so I'm like, nope, we're just gonna be American talking about a TARDIS.
Well, I do find it funny in most shows. You know, a lot of people who are meant to be English are always like the Queen's English, and I'm like, to me that's weird because it's like nobody really speaks like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you went to Captain Bristol, and I'm not that strong, but you know, if you get to where they're really strong, they're like, all right, me lover. What Northerners? Like that's what you expect. And then obviously if you go further up north, you've got the Northerners.
Yeah, they have so many dialects.
I know, it's crazy. I mean,
Scotland.
Scotland. You've got Welsh. I mean, I've actually got a friend who he was from the Philippines, but he has such a Welsh accent. It's like it messes with my brain a little bit, but it's pretty funny.
I did my English accent last week while I was doing Toxic Femme when I was reading about Amelia Clark doing her period comics. So if you want to check that out, that's on their live channel.
Nice.
Wow. So Joe, any final comments on this episode?
No, actually, I'm saving my commentary for next episode, which secrets will be revealed. This is one of my another one of my favorite episodes of season 3, where you know it's the showdown in the palace.
More secret.
Wear your special T-shirt, Katie.
I probably will. I will make sure it is washed and nice and ironed and just perfect.
Possibly, someone may die.
Uh-oh.
But that's like every episode, Katie.
Yeah.
That's why you have
Why don't you just be some lonely guard or like a sentry? Just that's the only thing.
possibly.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, isn't that just Dark Matter's tagline? Possibly, someone will die.
I'm gonna say, I will not be sad if 4 dies.
Wow.
Hey,
Oh,
Katie.
I will not be sad.
How
Whoa,
dare you.
whoa.
Huh.
Wow.
Just saying, he turned into a jerk. Like, my sentiment for 3 at the beginning of the show has now completely shifted to this one Imperial being.
He's misunderstood.
Yeah.
He's insane and needs to be taken down.
No, it's like Darth Vader. He can be brought back to the
Yeah.
light.
With Rio, I'm just like, I really want him, redemption from him. Like, I just know he has it in him. Come on.
I'm like one poison blow dart to the neck, and it's all good. All good.
Wow, Katie.
Just saying.
She's been planning this one out.
I won't be sad.
Everybody in the chat, guys. It's such a treat to have to be doing this walkthrough with Joe. Let's all everybody give some kind of a thumbs up or clapping hands in the chat. Let's show Joe our appreciation
All
for
the
him
love.
being this.
We
Oh,
love
please.
you, Joe.
Thank you, everybody.
You have the final word, Joe.
Well, that's it. Tune in next week, and secrets will be revealed. And yeah, it'll be fun.
No. God.
All righty. Thank you, Time Prophet. Let me just say really quick. Tessa B. Dick is on in half an hour on Cardinal Sin channel. Nina Infinity is streaming tonight with all these toxic women later on. Don't miss that.
Midnight's Edge, baby.
Midnight's Edge on Midnight's Edge.
Literally secrete poison.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Matt Ryan, John Burns, Kronos, Colin, Rapunzel, Time Prophet Steven, Louise, everybody who has been in here, Jerry, John, everybody, Jeff, everybody who's been here, Galinda. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you guys back next week.